So if you're a financial advisor or financial planner and you're looking for a new lead source or a lead supplier or a lead provider or a lead generation company that specializes with working with financial advisors, in this video, I'm going to go through what are some of the best ways or the best different options available to you to generate qualified leads with your ideal clients. So to get started, let me go through and compare some of the most popular way financial advisors have been generating leads through various lead sources. And this information that I'm going to go through is based on the data that I've collected over the years from speaking to and working with hundreds of different financial advisors. So most of the financial advisors that I speak to and that I have spoken to over the years, the first thing, or one of the most common first things that they usually do to generate leads is the first lead source that I have here on this list, which is to go to seminars or host dinner seminars and go to networking events and things like that. So this is a strategy that you're essentially going to be trading your time in order to generate leads, appointments, and clients. Now, this strategy can work. I've spoken to many advisors that generate clients and appointments using this strategy. But like every lead generation strategy out there, especially for financial advisors, there are pros and cons of every strategy. So you need to decide from the list that I'm going to go through in this video, you need to decide which one do you think would be best for you based on the pros and cons that you see here. So let's get started with going to seminars and networking events. So when you go to seminars and networking events, you're usually spending a lot of time to, number one, set up the event. It's also going to take you money to promote and set up the event. And from other advisors that I've spoken to that have been using this strategy in the past, they typically tell me they're going to be paying about $250 per lead. Sometimes it can be less than that. It depends on the quality of the lead. So usually if you're targeting people that have more money in investable assets, you're going to be paying more for that lead. And if you're okay with targeting people that have less in investable assets, then you're going to be paying less per lead. So $250 is really an average, but I've seen it go as low as $50 and also as high as $500 in some cases. So the difference though is that, again, these are just for leads. So these are just people that have expressed interest in attending your event or your seminar or going to one of these networking events. It doesn't necessarily mean that this person is going to schedule a call with you or going to request an appointment with you. So from all of the people that you may get, let's just say you host some sort of dinner seminar or something like that. If you factor in how much you're going to be paying for an appointment, after you factored in all your costs of running that event, usually the cost per appointment is going to be about $3,000. Now, because these are in-person events, usually the conversion rate is a little bit higher because you're going to be speaking to these people face to face. However, as you can see, the cost per appointment is quite high. Now, again, like all things on this list, these are just averages. It could be high, it could be lower, just depending on how well optimized everything that you're doing is dialed in. But again, this is just based on data that I've got from speaking to different clients who are financial advisors over the years. Now, the good thing about going to seminars and networking events is that all of these leads and appointments, they should be exclusive just to you if you're the one that's, hosting and doing the event yourself. So that's really good. And like I said, the conversion rate will also be higher. The only problem, and probably one of the biggest problems, is that it's not very scalable because you're always going to be trading your time in order to get leads, appointments, and clients. So there is a limit to how many events you can host and how much time you have to even run these events in the first place. And that limitation is your time. So even if everything's profitable, even if the numbers work out, it's not something that you can keep scaling up and up because you are limited on your time. But it is something that a lot of advisors use in order to get more appointments and clients. Is it the best method? In my opinion, I don't think so, but I'll let you be the judge of that yourself. But it is a strategy that can work if you have everything dialed in really well. However, there are potentially better strategies. And this would be where instead of generating leads in person through events, you can generate leads online. Now, when it comes to generating leads online, obviously, it's going to be more scalable and it's going to be a lower cost as well. But again, like all things, there's pros and cons to keep in mind. So when it comes to generating leads online, one of the first options that you have is to buy leads from a third-party lead provider or a lead generation company or some sort of lead supplier. So there are companies out there that will sell you financial advisor leads. So you can go to Google, you can search for one of these companies, and then you can literally place an order, and then you can get leads delivered straight to your inbox. Now, a big caveat with that is that you are essentially, when you do this, you are essentially going to be paying a middle person to give you leads. So what happens is a lead generation company, they could essentially run an ad on Facebook and they could maybe pay $20 to Facebook to generate a lead. And then what they can then do, or what they typically do, is they then resell that lead to potentially you and different advisors for 10 times more, sometimes more than that, sometimes less than that, but on average it's about 10 times more. So that means they're going to generate a lead for $20 from, let's say, Facebook ads as an example, and then resell that lead for $200 to different advisors. Now that means essentially you're going to be paying, instead of paying $20 per lead, you're going to be paying $200 per lead, or sometimes even more than that. Let's just go with the number 200. Now, from these leads that you're paying for that are delivered to your inbox in real time, you'll typically get some information about them, their name, email, phone number, and maybe some other information like how much they have in investable assets and things like that. And then typically what other clients have told me from these leads that they generate, they tell me that they usually speak to about 1 in 10. So that means if you speak to about 1 in 10, that means if you're paying $200 per lead and you speak to 1 in 10, that means your cost per appointment is going to be $2,000. Now, from your cost per appointment, you then need to work out how many of these appointments you can convert into a client. But let's just say in your case, your conversion rate is 25%, just as an example. So if you're paying $2,000 per appointment and your conversion rate is 25%, that means you're paying $8,000 to acquire a new client. So if a new client is worth to you more than $8,000, then it's obviously going to be profitable. If it's not worth more than $8,000, then it's not going to really work for you. So that's something to keep in mind when buying leads. It can definitely work, but you just have to be aware that you're going to be paying more per lead, and you have to do a really good job of following up and chasing these leads in order to get an appointment. Now, are these leads exclusive? The answer is it depends. So sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. It just depends on what lead generation company or lead provider that you are working with. So with some lead providers, they will actually share your leads with maybe 3 other advisors. There's a lot of really big popular lead providers that do this. I'm not going to mention any names, but you probably heard of them. They'll typically share your leads with 3 to 5 other advisors, and then you're essentially competing against other advisors for that same lead. So really, even though your cost per lead is maybe $200, your cost per lead is probably a little bit higher than that, because that lead isn't exclusively yours. You're competing with others for that same lead. Now, is it very scalable? Well, yes, because you can just buy more leads in order to get more appointments and get more clients and that's the key thing, if everything is converting well. But is it the best way to generate leads as an advisor? Well, a lot of the clients that I speak to, a lot of the people that have scheduled a call with me over the years, they've told me that even though they've had success with buying leads, and I've spoken to others who haven't had success with buying leads, again, it does depend on the lead provider and lots of other variables. But either way, they're still looking for a better way to generate leads, a way that doesn't take up so much time where they have to keep chasing leads to get an appointment, a way where they don't have to rely on a third-party company to give them leads, and a way where they can actually get the leads at cost without paying a middle person for the lead. So how can you do that? Well, this is what I'm going to go through in the last 2 lead generation sources for financial advisors. So the next source is to run ads. And if you run your own Facebook ads or TikTok ads or whatever other advertising platform that you're using, if you run your own ads, you can essentially cut out the middle person and you can generate leads yourself for the true cost of a lead. So like I mentioned earlier, if a lead generation company is going to be paying $20 per lead and then resell you that lead for $200, you can just run ads yourself and generate the lead for $20 and pay $20 for a lead. So that means if you speak to 1 out of 10 of those leads, you're going to be generating appointments for $200 instead of $2,000. So can you see the difference in results here? You can literally get 10 times more leads, more appointments for the same amount of money that you would spend if you are in control of the lead generation system. So that's why now so many financial advisors are switching from buying leads to generating your own leads. Now, again, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that buying leads is bad. It can work. It can, it serves a purpose for those that want to just buy leads and not have to worry about anything else. It can definitely work in some cases. But again, if you just look at the table here, you can literally see here that you can get leads for 10 times less compared to buying leads. And as a bonus, you don't have to chase any of these leads to get an appointment, because if you use the strategy that we use, you'll be able to get booked appointments in your calendar. And on top of that, the leads are always exclusive to you because it's your lead generation system and you are in full control of your marketing system. So you can do whatever you want. It's your marketing system. Now, the only downside to this is that when you run ads, you need to be able to know what kind of ads will convert. So the thing that gets ads to convert, it's all to do with your messaging and the strategy that you're using after people see the message. So the message is what gets people's attention and gets them to raise their hand and say, yes, I'd be interested in learning more about how you can help me. And then the strategy that you use is what you use after people click on the ad and then go through a process where they actually book an appointment directly in your calendar because they're interested in learning more about how you can help them. So you could, for example, go to Facebook ads and try to run ads yourself, but chances are if you've never done this before, it's probably not going to work. And that's because you need to know what is the right messaging to get ads to convert and what is the right strategy to get these leads to convert into appointments. So that's why we also get people that schedule a call with us and they say, hey, I've tried Facebook ads, I've tried, TikTok ads or Google ads or whatever it is, and it hasn't worked for me. And it's not that Facebook ads doesn't work per se, it's more that they either haven't used the correct messaging or they haven't used the right strategy. Now, if you want to know what strategy we use when it comes to running ads, I recommend watching my free masterclass training. There's a link in the description of this video to watch the free masterclass training. And in that training, I go through how the strategy works step by step and what kind of things you need to say in the messaging in order to get people to actually schedule a call on your calendar because they're interested in working with you. So inside of that video, pay special attention to steps 1 and 2 in order to learn more about the messaging and the strategy. And then in steps 3 and 4, I'm going to go through how you actually promote it and then get more people to actually schedule a call into your calendar to learn more about how you can help them. So anyway, click the link in the description of that video if you want to see how that works in more detail. Now, once you have high converting ads, you can essentially get appointments on demand. And that really is a beautiful thing to have in your business. So let's say, for example, on the higher end, your cost per appointment is $300. If 1 month you want to get 10 appointments, you just pay $300 times 10. So you pay $3,000 to get 10 appointments. If you want 20 appointments, so if you want double the amount of appointments, you just double your budget. So that means you can get as many appointments as you want every single month by just increasing or decreasing your budget. So can you see the potential of running ads once everything is dialed in and everything is converting well? Can you see what kind of a difference it will make in your business if you could literally get appointments on demand? And we have clients all the time that increase their budget when they want to get more appointments. They decrease their budget when they're getting too busy with their appointments and they want to slow things down. Or sometimes they'll even just pause their ad campaign temporarily for maybe 1 or 2 weeks while they're on vacation, so they don't want to get any more appointments, and then they resume it and then they continue running it once they're back. We also have other clients that they're looking to not just get appointments for themselves, but they're looking to scale up and build a team and things like that. So in those cases, when they're looking to scale up, they can keep increasing the amount of appointments they get, and they just need to hire new people, new salespeople to help them do those appointments for them, because obviously there's a limit to how many appointments you physically can take in your own calendar. So eventually, if you keep getting more appointments, you're going to have to get some people to help you with that as well. So as you can see, it is very scalable when you run ads in order to get appointments. Now, there is another method that you could use, or another lead source for financial advisors that could potentially work even better than ads, but it's not as fast as ads. So running ads is really quick in terms of getting leads and appointments and things like that, because you're spending money to get in front of people. But there is another way that you can generate leads and appointments for free without paying a single penny on ads. But the downside is that it's not very quick. So typically it's going to take 3 to 6 months in order for you to start seeing results and some traction from this channel. And that channel is by creating content. And more specifically, I'm talking about creating content like YouTube videos, like the one that you're watching right now. This would be an example of a YouTube video where you can generate leads and appointments from simple videos like the one I'm recording now. So with YouTube, it doesn't cost any money, but it does take time. Now you might be wondering, okay, so how much time does it actually take? Well, typically I've found it takes about 1 to 2 hours a week in order to record one video per week, which would be the minimum I would recommend that you do in order to start seeing any success or traction with your YouTube channel. And by success, I mean actually generating leads. So I don't really care about getting views on YouTube or subscribers or anything like that. For me, it's all about which YouTube videos are going to convert into leads, appointments, and most importantly, into clients as well. So if you spend 1 to 2 hours a week creating YouTube videos, eventually after 3 to 6 months, you'll be able to get anywhere from 10 to 30 appointments from those YouTube videos, assuming obviously, you create the right kind of YouTube videos and you optimize them correctly. So with that in mind, you now might be wondering, okay, so how do you create the right YouTube videos that actually generate clients and not views? And how do you optimize it correctly and all that kind of stuff? So again, this is something that we do for clients. So we actually do the research and tell you what kind of YouTube topics would be good, or what kind of YouTube content or YouTube titles would be good to create videos on in order to generate appointments. And not just any appointments, but appointments that are likely to also convert into clients. But just to give you a rough idea now of what it actually involves, it really just comes down to creating content that answers questions your potential clients are asking. So for example, this video that you're watching right now, which is talking about, what are the best lead sources for financial advisors? This is something that I've seen come up on sales calls again and again and again. Advisors are asking, what are the best ways to generate leads? What different channels or options are there that's available to me? And they're interested in learning which method would be best for them. So that's why I've created a video like this one that you're watching right now, which answers that question. And this is just one of hundreds of videos that I've created over the years that just answer questions that my clients or potential clients have asked over the years. So you can do the same thing. If you notice there's questions that your potential clients have asked you, and you record a video answering that same question, chances are there's going to be other people also searching for the answer to that question on Google or on YouTube. And then if they find your video, there's a very high chance that they are then going to go to the next step in your sales process and schedule a call with you. Now, that brings me on to the second thing to just keep in mind when creating YouTube videos is that you want to have a call to action in all of your YouTube videos to take them to the next step of your sales process. So you don't just want to create a video for the sake of creating a video. That's probably one of the biggest mistakes you can make. And sadly, I see this mistake all too often. People just spend so much time creating content like YouTube videos, and then they don't have any call to actions to go to the next step in the sales process. So that's why in this video, if you notice multiple times already, I've said, if you want to learn more about how we can help you, click the link in the description of this video to watch my free masterclass training. That will take you to our sales funnel. And in our sales funnel, you'll be able to watch a video that explains how we can help you solve a problem that you have, which is typically how to get more qualified appointments onto your calendar. And then if you want to learn more about working with us so that we can set up the whole system for you, there's an option to schedule a call after you watch that video. So this is all engineered in order to get appointments. And the same process that we use to get appointments for our own business, so for my business, the same process we use to get appointments is the same process we use for our clients as well. So even though most of our clients are financial advisors, we work with lots of other clients that are not financial advisors. So I'd say probably 80% are financial advisors and 20% are not financial advisors. They're in other industries that are looking to get more appointments in order to get more clients. And it's the same strategy. The same strategy works because if your goal is to get appointments, then you need a way to be able to motivate people to want to schedule that appointment with you in the first place. And the best way you can do that is by having some sort of educational content, which is what we use all the time in order to motivate people to want to schedule a call because they like what they've seen in the content. Now, if this is the first time you hearing a strategy like this, I know it might sound a little bit too complicated, or it might be a lot of information right now to take in, but it really isn't as complicated as it might initially sound. If you think about it, it just comes down to creating some sort of mechanism to generate traffic or generate people to hear about you and learn about what it is that you can do, which you can do through running ads or creating content, and then sending these people into a specifically engineered process that is designed to get them to book an appointment in your calendar. So again, if you want to learn in more detail how that works, just click on the link in the description of this video to watch the free masterclass training, because that goes through how it all works step by step. Now, when it comes to creating content, obviously these leads are going to be exclusive to you. And also it's going to be scalable as well, because the way that it works is the more content you create, the more appointments that you can get off the back of that as well. So it is very scalable and all of the leads are exclusive to you. And as you can see, you don't even have to pay anything per lead or per appointment, because your only investment is your time. And the great thing about creating videos is that it's also evergreen. So even though you're investing time in the beginning to create these videos, you can create videos that are evergreen, that generate leads and appointments and clients for years into the future. And I've got videos still on my channel that I created years ago, and they're still generating leads, appointments, and clients every single month for my business, even though I spent that 1 or 2 hours creating that video maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So that's how powerful creating content can be. And then as a final bonus, if you create content, what you can also do is you can also get even better results when you run ads as well. So even though I said the average cost per appointment is $200 to $300, we have some clients doing even better than that. And the reason they can do that is because they're also creating content such as YouTube videos. So if you think about it, if someone is watching some of your YouTube videos and they like what they hear on the video and they start to trust you a little bit more and they just get to know you a little bit more as well, and then they see one of your ads, do you think that there's going to be a higher chance that they convert from that ad or a lower chance that they convert? Well, obviously there's going to be a higher chance that they convert from an ad if they already see you and recognize you from one of your YouTube videos. And it also works the other way around. If someone hasn't seen one of your YouTube videos yet, but then they see one of your ads, and then later on they start binge watching your YouTube videos, there's going to be a much higher chance that that prospect from an ad converts into an appointment and into a client because of those YouTube videos. So they work really well together. So that's why I typically recommend to clients to do both if you can. We do obviously have some clients that they don't do both, they just run ads, and other clients they just create content. But if you want the best possible results, then I would recommend running both at the same time. Now, if this sounds good, but you don't really want to create this kind of system yourself, this is something that we can do for you. We have a fully done for you package where we can take care of all the work. We can set everything up, we can run your ads, we can start getting leads and appointments for you. And if you'd like to learn more about how that works, all you need to do is click the link in the description of this video to watch my free masterclass training. And then at the end of that video, we'll go through how we help clients set this up. And if you want us to set this up for you, you'll be able to schedule a call by clicking on the link below that video. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.